Hello and welcome to this Parenting Masterclass series. In this series, we're going to learn about how to handle characters of identity, particularly timidity and aggressiveness. I'll read the scriptures. 2 Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7, and it says, "For God did not give us a spirit of timidity, but a spirit of power, love, and of self-discipline." Every human being is a product of conditioning, and this is coupled with their internal responses based on their personality types. Behaviors are learned and are a product of the child's upbringing, his significant emotional experiences, and the grooming environment that the child has been raised in. So characters are a learnable trait because children come into this world empty and they depend on their handlers, parents, helps, nannies. They depend on the people who handle them, who lead them through their growing stage, to run the programming, install the software that determines the program that they run. Okay, so we're going to be sharing about timidity, like I said earlier. In this particular video, we're going to talk about timidity in this particular video. What does timidity mean? Timidity is defined as a lack of courage and confidence. It is a character that essentially reflects how a child sees himself or herself. So it's a character that is rooted in the perception of identity of the child. This rides on the cause and effect principle. The principle of cause and effect. So for an effect that you see, there is a cause behind it. For every effect that a child or any human being manifests, deep down is a cause behind it. That's why you cannot handle character deficiencies superficially. You have to dig deeper. So, we've said before that character is a learnable trait, and it depends on the handler of the child, the environment, the software that was installed. By software, I mean what the child is exhibiting is what the child has been taught to exhibit. Yes. There are a few reasons why your child might be exhibiting the character of timidity, and we're going to look at a few examples. Number one, he is constantly yelled at and hit at every slightest provocation, in the name of correcting your child. Number two, he's constantly told to keep quiet. Shh, mechono, dake. And whether you like it or not, these are programs that are being installed to run in the child's software. His brain, his mind, his personality traits. There are different personality types, and maybe your child exhibits one of those personality types that will make him shrink rather than confront or attack when he feels an opposition of any sort. Okay? Or the handler, the culture and belief system of his handler. For example, if it's a girl child who is constantly told that ladies or girls are to be seen and not heard, maybe the child's natural disposition is to speak up, but if he's constantly told this, it may affect. If she's constantly told this, it may affect her and the way she expresses herself, which would then lead to timidity. Your child could be responding to his or her perceived idea or perceived invisibility in the family. For example, a middle child, maybe you have 5 children, the number 4th child, or the number 3 child, a child that feels that he or she is invincible or invisible, will want to shrink, want to be in their shell, and might even be timid. And it could also be that the child, he or she lacks belief in himself and feels that he never does anything right. This is also a product of what you tell the child, cause and effect. It's a character of identity. So what do you do if your child exhibits this character often, not being able to speak up when they should, they keep quiet when they are hurting, and they cry many times secretly in private and only with muffled voices? What do you do if they are unwilling to share how they feel and they don't like this and they don't like being called to the stage? This means that you may have a huge work on your hands. Some children naturally, their personality types do not like the center stage. They would rather work in the background, but that doesn't mean that they do not like to be praised or recognized for the background work they do. So I want to differentiate between timidity and people who just like to be at the background, who aren't like the life of the party but are still comfortable in their own skin. Timidity, on the other hand, is a behavior. It's a behavior that is learned and can also be unlearned. So how do you help this child? The truth is, it begins with you. Yes, you. You will need to examine yourself and ask yourself, are there patterns that I'm repeating in this particular parenting strategy? Am I repeating how I was brought up? Am I continuing with the things that I had said I would not do to my children unconsciously, right? So you might need to heal. You might need to get an intervention. You might need to speak to a counselor who would help you get an intervention so that you heal and get better. And this will be totally worth it, because it will save you from repeating those mistakes on your children and hurting an entire generation. So pay attention to how you speak to your child and the tone of voice. It doesn't mean that you should be firm, but not harsh. There are times when you need to explain concepts. Communicate clearly with your child and ensure that the message is understood. If you want your child to do something, teach. The Bible says in Proverbs 22 verse 6, train up your child in the way they should go. Training is not go and wash plates. That's not training. That's instructing. Training is, this is the plate. This is how you wash it. You ensure that you clean the sides so that there are no food particles at the corners. If there are food particles at the corners, it may cause disease or infection if we use that same plate unconsciously to serve anyone food. And I say, okay, here, do it, let me see you. That is training. So spend time to train them and speak to this child. Pay attention. Be firm, but do not be harsh. Also, compliments go a very long way. Compliment your child truthfully, because your child can read when it's not coming from a place of authenticity. Communicate with your child truthfully, be lavish and open about it. And when you have to correct that child, call the child in private. So correct in private, compliment lavishly. Okay? Another thing that could help is an I Speak challenge that you can begin from this day, from this weekend, or from whenever it is you're watching this video. An I Speak challenge is simply a challenge or a time that you carve out for your child to say how they feel without interruption. And you tell them, look, it's okay. It can be once a week. It can even be for 21 days. You can say, okay, we'll do an I Speak challenge for 21 days. So every day at so time, maybe when you're coming back from school, or just before you do your assignments, or whenever, you have 30 minutes I Speak challenge where you say how you feel without you interrupting them. And if you get angry, or if whatever it is they say gets you angry, you tell yourself, okay, I'm trying to help my child here. And instead of dealing with the emotion, you see the cause behind that emotion that you feel. So, excuse me, you can try that. Words of affirmation also go a long way to bring back your child's confidence. So I speak challenge, teach, train, correct firmly but not harshly. Communicate your displeasure in a way that does not tear the child down, and let the child know that you're proud of them when they've done something right. I share a workbook with this video. I encourage you to download it, see through the questions. It will help you work out how you will handle any character or timidity or shyness that your child may be exhibiting, and how you can help your child. Thank you for watching, and see you in the very next episode. Bye for now.